Ugh. And we are live. Fanboy Modeling School. To the Fanboy Modeling School. I am one of your beautiful hosts, the Fat Mantis, now in HD, and I'm here with my man
Steve, also in HD. How the hell are you, Bev?
I'm doing amazing, Broham. I'm living this dream.
One of the best songs ever made by a band called Pennywise, Broham. Great song. Great song. Great song.
Look at you going back to your punk rock roots. Over in chat, we've got the Shaolin Iceboxer saying,
"You're."
Elisa Luna, hello there. How are you?
Hello.
How's my favorite Fat Mantis? Fit Mantis, which, I wish I could live up to that. But I'm getting fitter. I'm working out. I'm living the dream. I'm having a good one. I'm realizing, as I was just discussing with Steve, that vacation is a rich man's move. Right. And working people really never have the time or energy or finances to take a break. Right. So that's what's kind of stressing me out right now.
No, I feel that, man. I heard you say, "Yo, we are a shadow band." What happened, bro? What made you say that?
I wonder if it's fixed or it was changed, but our logo, the cover that I had made for this one thing, wasn't generating in other apps. It looked just like a generic string of code, and I was like, "Oh, they're not even giving us a preview." And so I wonder, because unfortunately we are going to have to talk about race and politics. Although, when do we not talk about race and politics?
Can't think of a night that we haven't talked about it, so why break the trend? But before we get into all the shenanigans, make sure you tune in to the Freedom Speech underground radio station owned by this great man right here called RizRadio.com. We would love for you to come over to RizRadio.com, the official website, where you can see the breakout for all the talented contributors that are a part of this great movement. You can also check us out on Live 365 or anywhere you get your internet radio. You're looking for Riz Radio, your home for independent radio and the music you love. Music for the apocalypse. Am I right, my guy?
Yes, you are, my friend. So yeah, before we get into actually race and politics, I think we should talk about some fun stuff, right? Before we start throwing chairs at each other.
Right. Chairs must be thrown. But I gotta give my honorable mention, man. Tried to watch The Crisis part 1 on HBO Max today. Made it through exactly 20 minutes.
Wait, the cartoon or the CW?
The cartoon. I would never watch the CW version.
that is somehow, that's even worse. That one's even worse.
I'm sure, man.
Here's what I gotta say. I really used to love Warner Brothers Animation. I think they really used to do it well when they did these straight to DVD adaptations of actual comic books and graphic novels. Some of them are really great. The Dark Knight Returns was amazing. Crisis on Two Earths, that's a Justice League story, amazing. They had a bunch of them. I don't even know why I'm listing because there's too many to count. But at some point, the old actors and the producers left, and they got all new ones, and it just went to hell, man. Went to hell in a handbasket. The quality's not there. It's really messed up.
Yeah, man. I didn't make it through much of it, man. I didn't make it through much of it because I was just kind of like, you know what, man? The Crisis event, it was great in comic book form. I'm not against it being an animated form, and I'm not really against them trying to do their thing, man. I can't do it. But I do want to give a shout out to my homeboy EK, who did the voice for Martian Manhunter and Superman, Man of Tomorrow, and all three of these films. Shout out to EK. You might remember we interviewed him on not Fanboy Modeling School, on Talking with a Dad.
I remember.
Great voice actor. Also did the voice, did the voice for your favorite character in What If, in the Doctor Strange episode, season 1, the sorcerer that was banished to that nether realm.
Oh, okay, that's awesome. That's awesome.
But otherwise than that, man, crazy stuff going on, bro. We got to talk about the fact. Sure, I don't know if you have any honorable mentions, but you see the cover page, man. Gambit, Blade, and Wolverine, the 3 most popular characters to come out of.
There's a 4th one because Daphne Keene's X-23 is getting so much love online.
Oh yeah,
petition after petition of people saying we want to see her not only remain in the MCU but actually be in the Young Avengers, which I would not be against.
Not at all. I would not be against it at all myself, man. In fact, I think it might bring a level of legitimacy to something that no one cares about, the Young Avengers, bro. But where do you want to start, my friend? Where do you want to start?
So let's get into all these ones. So let's talk about all 3 of them, right? So we've got Blade, we've got Gambit, and we've got Wolverine, and people apparently want to see them all. And this is an indication that the Fox Marvel universe is not dead. As a matter of fact, Deadpool Wolverine has only sparked more interest in them.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, about $1 billion. Almost nearly $1 billion.
It's only been 2 weekends. This is like I'm telling you right now. I'm putting my money where my mouth is right now. I bet you it makes $2 billion.
You said $2 billion?
I think it will make $2 billion.
Wow, we're okay. Because the estimates right now is that it's going to come in under the original Joker film. It's going to hit 1.1 billion. Some people have it on the high end of
what do they know
1.4, but you're saying 2 billion. Is this including digital and DVD and all that stuff?
No, just its box office whole when it gets sent away or shipped away will be 2 billion.
Has there ever been a film that hit 2 billion?
Oh yeah, there's a couple. Avatar, the original Avatar, Endgame and Infinity War both hit 2 billion.
Wow.
There's like 4 or 5 2 billionaires. I think this could do it, or maybe I'm just gassed. Maybe I'm just an idiot who doesn't know what the hell he's talking about. But I just hear reports of people seeing it again and again and again, and that's actually the 2 things you really need to hit that number. Is you need a faithful fan base.
Right,
which this movie has, and then you have to have the repeat viewing from the nerds. Forget these one-timers, these moms and these dads that take their kids. Sure, they contribute, but really to keep going, you need the fans to watch it 4 or 5 times. I haven't even seen it a second time, but I plan on going, and I might even hit up a 3rd time.
When I was working in LA, I would have seen this movie 5 times by now. I single-handedly helped put that company Movie Pass out of business. I don't know if I told you this, but I saw the original Black Panther film 9 times because
I remember that. I actually remember that summer real well.
And I also saw Infinity War 7 times in the theater, bro. I cleaned Movie Pass out, man. I could not be stopped. If I wasn't a dad and a husband, I would most certainly be on my way to seeing this movie for its 6th time by now because I enjoyed it that much. I would love for it to hit 2 billion, but let me tell you why I would love for it to hit 2 billion, right? I would love for it to hit 2 billion, man, because it would be people just having a good time going to see this movie. Yes, the movie has its problems. I'm sure you can find a problem with most movies, right? I enjoyed it without a hitch, but I would love for it to hit 2 billion because not only does it symbolize that Marvel is still a viable option, that maybe everyone was ringing the bell about Marvel's demise way too quickly, man. And it just took a fun movie to pull everyone back in. Snarky Jade just did a video called You Cannot Go Back Home, saying that she felt at home again watching the Deadpool movie. And then after they released the news of Robert Downey Jr. coming back to the MCU as Dr. Doom, it made her realize you can't go home. Again, I reject that categorically, but she's entitled to her opinion. I think people can come back home and go home because all that people really want to do is be able to go see a movie. Now, there is something we have to touch on. Just put a pin in it.
fanboy.
Is the message dead? Is woke?
Okay, before we move on to another topic.
No, I said put a pin in it. I put a pin in it. Open your ears, you light skin son of a bitch.
See, race and politics right here on Fanboy Modeling School. You hear it see first.
Our
light skin abuse.
Our light skin's a race.
We're going to get into it in a minute. But I just want to say this. The reason why I really think it's special is, my brother, my older brother.
Right.
Much older brother.
Right.
Love him immensely. He watches superhero films, but usually when they're on streaming, when he can get around to it, he's never lining up for these things. The other day, he played hooky from work to take his wife and his adult son to go see this movie.
Oh, wow.
And so it's not like he's some fanboy. It's not like he's some Deadpool fan. He just was like, it looks good from the commercials. I figured it'd be a fun summer movie. And I was like, if he is playing hooky to see it, then other dads, basically normies. He's a normie.
Right.
That's what the phrase we're looking for. And so if they're responding, then I think something special is happening.
I would agree with that, man. I think, again, people are just enjoying the movie as they should, going out and having a good time. It's a raunchy laugh fest mixed with a bunch of cameos that you just can't ignore. And it has the breakout team of the year, the real Thunderbolts. It has Jennifer Garner's Elektra. It has Channing Tatum as Gambit. It has Wesley Snipes as Blade. Yeah. It has Henry Cavill as Wolverine. The only other actor to ever play Wolverine. And even though Henry Cavill released a statement saying it was just a fun thing to do and, take a shot at DC and just have a good time, people are really buzzing about these characters, man. Right. They're really buzzing about these characters, man.
So my favorite, here's what I'm saying. I love the prospect of all four of them getting their payday and doing their thing. But my favorite is the thing you showed me right before we went on stream. You showed me a Ryan Reynolds tweet, and Ryan Reynolds he's such a Chad. Nice, he's such a great guy, man. He literally was like, he had pictures of him and Wesley Snipes behind the scenes. He had 4 pictures of them goofing around. And he says retweet if you want this guy to get a Logan style send-off movie.
Yes.
And I immediately went to Twitter and retweeted it to make sure that I could participate in that vote, because that would be the most amazing. You know how they can't even figure out a script for a new Blade? Right. F that. They should make a Blade, Blade dies, Blade kills the Marvel universe, whatever.
Right.
Wesley Snipes send off while they're trying to figure out the basic script of this new, right? So they should have already figured out. But if you can't figure out a new edge lord way of showing Blade, have the real Blade come out and give him a film. I'm into it.
Yeah, so I agree with that 100%. And the reason I put that on my on the Hold Up TV Instagram and why I was just sharing that with as many people as possible, because I really do think if we can keep Wesley in line, which I think he's going through enough hardship in life to understand that, an opportunity has presented itself, a rated R farewell movie to Blade would be amazing, because if you see the uncut version of Blade trilogy, that's actually what that film is. If you watch the uncut version, it literally is. I'm not saying it's the one that we want, right?
Right. That's the problem. That might have been their goal, but there was a lot of hokiness to it that it didn't pull it off, right?
Right. And
we deserve better.
I would really be in it. And now, so let's just fan craft for a minute, something that you're great at. What type of story would you present as a farewell movie? Because I want all 3 from you tonight. That's how we don't just spend time in politics. We get our full fanboy on. I want to hear the Mantis give me the farewell Blade movie, the introduction of the Gambit movie, which we got to talk about. Gambit may have survived that little.
Oh man, yeah, I literally smirked like a little kid. I was like,
And of course, Wolverine.
Yeah, okay.
Take it away, big guy. Take it away.
Okay, thank you. Oh my God, he's gonna let me cook. So here's what I would do with Blade. So we've already seen a Logan style and sad, depressing Wolverine movie. Now I don't want that for Blade, especially since Blade lives in the world of immortality and walking amongst the immortals. So here's what it is. I would actually want to see him exalted and become some sort of demon lord, or absorb and literally diablerize the king of the vampires, Dracula himself. And I think he should somehow at the end of it become some sort of blood god.
Wow.
It could take place during an apocalypse toward years in the future. That's why he looks old, because we know he ages slowly, so it can't be 2024. It could be something like that, and at the end, he literally defeats evil itself and becomes a blood god. But you know what? Instead of, and this is how he'll control the vampires. Instead of being a wrathful evil blood god, he'll be a merciful one.
Right.
It could be super dark. It could be very like the Devil May Cry kind of things, creepy castles, apocalyptic things, zombies, monsters, shit like that.
I love it. All right. I personally would be here for that, man. I would personally be here for, I wouldn't say a sad bastard movie, man, but I would be here for what Whistler called in Blade Trilogy. There's a great scene in Blade Trilogy, man. Right before Whistler dies, where he tells Blade, he's like, I see you surrounded by enemies and no one there to help you, because he knows that his own mortal life is coming to an end, right? And he dies almost unceremoniously in that very same scene. I would love to see a scene with Blade surrounded, going out angel style, surrounded by the hordes, and just murking them.
That would be amazing.
I'm talking about Jet Li on the top of the mountain, the one.
I can see the camera pulling back and Blade just killing them. Oh man, that would be absolutely good.
We're going full throttle, man. Now I have to ask you before we get into your next presentation. Has it picked up any traction, the tweet? Because people are covering it on YouTube. There are many people covering it. Has it picked up any real traction where people are like, Snipes back as Blade, hashtag Snipes Blade type of shit?
Oh yeah, it is absolutely getting traction. Now the question is, here's the thing. Is Marvel smart enough to listen to the fans? And for instance, I'll give you an example. Deadpool Wolverine is literally the product of fan creation. Fans wanted stuff like that. They love like these idiotic team-ups. And so Feige for years was trying to crack the formula of how to control fans. I got an idea. Just go on Twitter and give us what we want. And so if they're smart, they're going to listen to these people.
Right.
If they're stupid, they're going to make a woke modern Blade where Blade's hardly in it, but 4 women characters talk about their emotions and their monthly visitor.
The real
occasionally having a fight scene.
I love it. All right, now how would you introduce Channing Tatum? Channing Tatum.
Channing Tatum. Here's the really good thing about
I'm gonna make a name of myself for myself.
What's really good about this is he never really was a Fox character.
No.
So really, the Gambit we eventually see in the MCU could really be cast by anyone, including him.
Right.
He could have the same face as the MCU has not solidified rules on how doppelgangers or variants work. So you're like in another dimension. For some reason, I have a variant that looks like you.
Right.
But I also have variants that look like me. And then I have other variants that look like Tobey Maguire for some reason. Right. However, nothing's stopping Channing Tatum from doing that. But if he were to get his own story, I got to tell you this. One of my favorite Gambit stories is from the Ultimate Universe. It's kind of cliche, but it's great. It's an issue of Ultimate X-Men. And I remember the title was "You Always Remember Your First Love."
Right.
And the story is that Gambit, it's back Gambit when he's a thief. He hasn't done any super heroics, and he uses his powers to be a street magician.
Right. Okay.
And he's doing all this kind of crazy thing. And every day a homeless girl comes to him, and the homeless girl watches. She's so amazed by his things. And it turns out that the little girl's a mutant. And one day he sees the mafia guys kidnap her. And when he tries to figure out who she is, her parents were brutally murdered in a car somewhere.
Okay.
And he has to go find this girl. And it's where he decides to be a superhero when he actually goes on a killing spree against the mafia. He's breaking into things. He's pulling a John Wick basically.
Yeah.
But with his car, it's like he's like cutting people up. He ends up fighting Tombstone. All these things.
Right.
At the end of the day, he saves the girl, but unfortunately, she asks him at the end if he can use his magic to bring her parents back. It's tragic. It's totally sad. And so, what they say, the title of it is "You Always Remember Your First Love." At first you think the way the little girl has a crush on him, it's referring to her feelings toward him. But no, it's his feelings toward her, not in a pedo way, but in a way that she's the first person he ever loved and actually showed love to.
I love that, man. That would be a great story. You step an R on that, man. You get some action. And hey, by the way, Lowe says he should not play Gambit. He's too puffy now. Yo, I saw some behind the scene footage of him preparing for the role, man, and forgetting that I always forget that he was a dancer, right? So he's used to doing choreography, and he's in fairly good shape. Yeah, I mean, you saw Magic Mike,
Yeah.
The guy gets in shape really quickly, man. I think I would just enjoy that type of movie you described with just a tinge of comedy in it, man.
Because they got to keep the comedy. He pulled that off great. Right?
Bro, I got to tell you, man, just the way this meme's been going around the internet, everyone putting their own version on Gambit saying, I'm going to make a name for myself. You know how long I've been waiting for this? That's absolutely amazing, man. Got to say, man, just before we get into your Wolverine thing, right? And I don't want to put too much on the Wolverine thing because I know the MCU isn't smart enough to do that for us, man. I gotta say, this is the X-Force that we wanted, man. This is the X-Force we wanted. If they told me they were making a movie with these characters and it was the Exiles, like you spoke about last week, I'm in there, man. Fucking take the money from Thunderbolts, put it in that shit, and I'm fucking showing up to the theater, bro.
That movie's gonna be a train wreck.
Light skins only ever happens.
Thank you, Rico. Thank you for that. I clicked on the right message. Rico says light skins only ever half exist. Yes, I only count as half a human when I vote.
You are the 2.5.
Liv says Blade, isn't it? Blade is in Deadpool versus Wolverine. Yeah, I always keep calling it versus. It's really but I just call it versus.
And shout out to Liv. Welcome in, man. Welcome out. I love your PFP, by the way. Blade rom-com, please, God.
So Lowe's not about it. Here's what it is. I think Channing Tatum was puffy, but not in a fat way. I think he's thick boy in terms of muscle. Here's what it is. Gambit is kind of a slender dude, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
He's like a Cyclops type, and so he doesn't fill out his costume the way Channing Tatum does. But Channing Tatum still pulled it off.
Shout out to Mama Bex. Yes, Mama Bex, my hair is this curly. That's some green room talk right there. Don't worry about it.
Shaolin says Tatum killed it. I'm sorry he exceeded my expectations. He did everything right. The voice, the action. Dude nailed it.
Yeah, man. And do you want to just touch on really quick? Baby Deadpool starts giggling. What's so funny, little fuck? Hey, by the way, all of the Reynolds made an appearance in that movie. So Kid Deadpool is his child, his eldest child. Baby Deadpool is the new one, and the
Lady Deadpool,
Lady Deadpool, his prolonged boo.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk about? Oh, what the hell was I going to say? Never mind. I forgot. I totally forgot. I forgot where I was going with that. Let's get to Wolverine. How would the Mantis bring the Wolverine into it, man?
So here's what it is. I would mix two concepts from this movie.
Oh, it came back. I'm sorry. Do you want to talk about Gambit being alive per the end of Deadpool, when Deadpool is proving that Human Torch is the POS, and he did say all those things to get himself killed. Apparently on the TV screens, there's a shot of Gambit walking away on one of those TV screens. Are you up to speed on this?
I am not, but another reason to watch it again.
Screen Rant covered it. Everyone is covering it. Like literally, there's a shot of him on one of the TVA TV screens. Now, it doesn't mean for sure that he lived, but people are widely speculating that he did make it out of the abyss.
Oh, that would. That's what I'm saying. Put him in the MCU, man. Give the man. Come on, guys, do it. Come on, Feige, have a heart. Stop doing that coke and actually pay attention to your fans for a second. That would be amazing. I'd be so into that. He really. Here's what I'm saying. I love the movie, but in terms of Easter egg member berries thing, I gotta say, Deadpool was my favorite thing out of all of it.
Oh, absolutely, man. And really, in all honesty, man, I want to go back to what you said before we move on to Calvary. If I was Feige seeing this, man, I would go, you know what? We don't have to reinvent the wheel. I know that to a corporation, novelty is like the scariest thing on earth. Like, what if we give them what they want and they turn into a bunch of Snyder Cut maniacs on us? But literally, if you made these movies, if you made a Blade rated R swan song movie, where even if you have to quench your thirst on this multiverse bullshit and have him hand the mantle off to friggin' Mahershala Ali, which I'm fine with that casting. I just don't know how he's going to do physically. Even if it just takes place in another universe, that dog hunts. People go see that. If you make a Gambit movie with high thrill action and comedy and like dark New Orleans scenery, that dog hunts, man. But I think at this point, people would go see an Elektra movie if they knew that Ryan Reynolds and someone else was going to be leading the charge. Who wouldn't go see that, man? I'd go see it. I'd go see it, bro.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Calvary, I know you're chomping at the bit.
I can't wait. I'd give the audience two things that they want, right? We want Cavill, right? But you know what clearly is the movie that has slipped the attention of Marvel, Feige, everybody. It is a movie where Wolverine and the Hulk fight. And so what I would do is I'd take that really cool brown costume that we all saw what's his face? Hugh Jackman sport, very well. I would give it to Cavill. I'd give him the mask, and I would do a retelling of Incredible Hulk 180 and 181, where he fights the Wendigo, and Department H gets Wolverine to go break up their fight.
Yes.
And so Wolverine movies, no offense, we love Wolverine, but they're pretty simple, just like Blade movies. Right. We know what we want. We want to see claw action. We want to see people getting eviscerated. We want to see him be a tough guy.
Yeah.
We all know Cavill can pull off the tough guy routine. Have him basically John Wayne in a costume fighting the Hulk. This dog would hunt. Am I right?
Absolutely. And if you just follow the animated story of Wolverine versus the Hulk, which is Marvel's best.
Oh, that is really good. You're saying the one where Weapon X gets involved?
Yes, that would be absolutely amazing, bro. You could just go shot for shot on that one, man. That would be
I would take out Deadpool because this Deadpool, the movie Deadpool is more heroic than the comic book one. Yeah. And the comic book one, people don't realize this, but like comic book one is a scumbag and a murderer. So I'd remove that character. I'd replace him with another guy or whatever. But yeah, you could have what is it? Omega Red, Cyber, maybe even Shiva show up and they interfere as well, and there could be that side. Obviously you got to put some plot. You can't just have the Hulk and Wolverine hitting each other the whole time. But I agree with you. That was a good example.
I think it'd be amazing, man. I was actually really excited to see Lady Deathstrike in there. I love that part where Hulk rips her arms off. I'm just like, finally. But I just love the buzz around this, man. I love the fan participation and enthusiasm behind this whole situation. I know we've talked. This will be the second week we're talking about Deadpool. I'm sorry, third week we're talking about Deadpool.
This is the third.
But it's really worth talking about because the projections in regards to how much money it's making just show that comic book movies are the right ones. The viability is still there. It's nearly at $1 billion, man. They haven't had $1 billion hit since Endgame. Well, maybe if you count, did Spider-Man make $1 billion?
Actually, Spider-Man 1.9.
1.9
billion. Spider-Man 3. So no, you're right. I love that you said it, and we've talked about this, but it is true. This is evidence that there's no such thing as superhero fatigue. You give us a good superhero movie, we're going to show up. You give us some nonsense that you're IP mining. This phrase is ringing my mind now. Right. IP mining, people will not show up, and you will destroy your brand. And so for those who don't know, what is IP mining? Star Wars is doing it. Marvel is definitely doing it. And Game of Thrones is doing it. It's where they say, let's do 7 spinoffs. Game of Thrones has 6 spinoffs in production right now, 2 different animated series. They're bringing back the Stark thing. They're doing Dunk and Egg. Any motherfucker who has ever appeared in a book is getting some sort of show or something. It is ridiculous.
I'm sorry. Izzy just sent me the wildest fucking message on the side with a picture of Robert Downey Jr. with a cigar in his mouth, and he's the character from Tropic Thunder with the Dr. Doom mask. I'm sorry. But you're right, man. You're absolutely right. We don't want sideline characters, man. Now, my good brother, right? I'm not even moving on to another topic. This is the topic. This is all tying together. We're talking about this movie potentially making 1.4 billion to 1.1 billion. You're saying it has the opportunity to make 2 billion before it's all said and done. But then on top of all of this, we have reports, and when I say reports, take this with a grain of salt. Throw it right over your shoulder. That Marvel, Kevin Feige, and them have pulled a politician move, and they're slowly cleaning house. And as the critical drinker said, the message might be fully dead. And I called this on Fanboy before anyone else did. I was like, we're going to have to suffer through a few more properties, and then they're going to do the full pivot in the way where they're like, oh, were we affirming things before? No, that's not our business. We're just releasing movies over here. It appears, or it is being alleged, that the MCU has cleaned house and got rid of the riffraff that were imparting messages into movies.
The writers and the producers who were like, oh, let's have an activist direct Star Wars.
Right.
So I hope this is true. I hope that the message is dead. And here's what it is. It is no offense to anybody. It's not offense. You know, I'm not shitting on your identity just because I don't want to watch a freaking superhero movie with it.
Right.
I want my brain to shut off during these things. I do not need messages left and right being crammed. Imagine, take Deadpool and Wolverine, for instance. Right. Imagine if a message was crammed into that. Imagine if some sort of woke messaging was the main point of that.
Right. What was the point of me paying the money? Well, you paying the money of the tickets to go get away from reality for a little bit. Right. It's funny that you say that, man, because on the fringe part of the internet, and again, I want to echo what my good brother just said here, man. In no way, shape, or form by saying, do we not want that type of messaging in there? Doesn't mean that there can't be some semblance or, resemblance of what's going on. That's what makes subterfuge movies like The Winter Soldier so good. We can all believe that Russia would lop a man's, find a man with his arm chopped off and make him do horrible things. Yeah, I can believe that. But even, for instance, the fact that Deadpool is taking shots, allegedly, from a certain community in regards to enough representation after this character being billed as pansexual. That's right. Deadpool is taking some smoke from some fringe people on the internet for making too many gay jokes.
But he is,
yeah,
like you said, pan or whatever, right? Yeah, he's fluid. He gets around. So he, of all people, are allowed to make those jokes.
Right.
I'm sure they're saying, yeah, but he goes back to his heterosexual girlfriend. But I mean, whatever, man. Why can't we just have nice things? Why can't we have nice things? And this actually goes over to Spider-Man for a second. And so I really hope, I said this before. I think I said this literally last week. I really hope that Spider-Man and Zendaya don't get back together next movie, because I want him single so we can see him with other love interests his characters had. I'd love to see him have an affair with Black Cat. I would love to see him date Kitty Pryde. I would love all of that happening. Maybe some other, maybe there's some hoes out there I didn't even know he dated. That it's the same thing. You can't have Deadpool, who's in a committed relationship, suddenly cheat on his girlfriend with a dude. Audiences, I don't care if the gender politics are there. It doesn't work. Now, however, if they want to break them up, and for one movie he has an affair with a dude, I wouldn't be against it.
Right.
Just because that's his character.
So here's the thing, man. Feeding the minority group, and by minority group, I mean literally the word minority. I'm not associating any sexuality or color to it, but any minority group versus what the majority is. And if the majority is saying that, hey, we're good with this, as long as it's not the type of film where we got motherfuckers running around in hoods making a legible argument for lynching people, like, then I'm okay with it, man. Not everything has to be that, especially not a character that breaks the fourth wall in a fictional feature, right? And if Disney is cleaning house and they're getting rid of people who obviously weren't really interested in the properties, nor were they interested in the fans, they were only interested in advancing what they thought was appropriate, that message doesn't fly, right? Like, let me give you, for instance, man, I will always go back to this, and I know Young Ripper and guys like that, shout out to Young Ripper, would disagree with me, man. That comic you told me about with the Green Lantern and the Green Arrow, that is a form of good writing, and in regards to a superhero not understanding his place in the realm of things, right?
Yeah, I agree.
That was good messaging. It's different where you try to capitalize off a group of people with representation, and it's like, well, you have to enjoy this, and if you don't enjoy it, and if you don't like it, then you are the problem. No, so that's just idiotic. That's bad marketing right there, man. Yeah. Black Panther wasn't successful, and this is where I disagree with Jeremy and everyone over there. It wasn't successful because they released it during Black History Month. It wasn't successful because of any type of messaging. It was actually really successful because I thought it was a great movie, man.
Yeah, I agree.
I just think it was a great movie.
It's not woke. It's not a woke movie. It happens to feature black people. That doesn't mean woke. But for some people, will quickly say it's woke. It isn't. They're not cramming a message down your thing. This is a black guy going on an adventure for his family.
And actually, the messaging that was in the movie has nothing to do with what you would consider woke propaganda. It was actually, if you have to really analyze it, it was a conversation amongst black people that other people were invited into.
Yes, you were watching the conversation about the abandonment of black children and where they exist in the whole scheme of it all.
Yeah.
Is there a place for them back in Africa? Is there a place for them in the community? Are they being abandoned? And this is a conversation that isn't a woke conversation. It's a black conversation. I absolutely agree. It's one of the deeper conversations Marvel movies have been allowed to do, considering they have activists do movies, and if you watch the Eternals, you know why it's woke? It's got a lot of diversity, yet it's about nothing. Doesn't say anything about anything. There's no there's no intelligent argument going on. I'm like, and they're like, we just wanted to make them black and fat and gay. And I was like, well, the original character wasn't. And they're like, well, here he is. And I was like, okay. And here's what I'm saying: if that had said something about something,
right,
then I would say it's not woke. But them just cramming that in was just kind of bizarre.
It's absolute madness, man. Calverine, man, Calverine. Oh wait, before I go back there, man, Star Wars not taking a beat from Marvel, huh? So let's say Marvel does abandon the message. Star Wars is going full steam ahead. It appears, right? They're like, we are on the right side of history. We will not give up.
I have a conspiracy theory.
Okay.
So, Kathleen Kennedy, I think, is some sort of diehard I can only assume. Right. She's some sort of diehard, crazy feminist who wants to fly her Star Destroyer into a fucking building and kill everybody, right? And so I think when they hired her, they promised her free reign to do her woke thing.
Right.
And so that's so funny you say this, because me and my brother were talking about the next Star Wars movie, and we Wikipedia'd Benoit, this woman, this director.
Okay.
The director of the new Rey movie.
Yeah.
No action films, no actual fiction films, all documentaries about abused women and feminism.
Right.
This is if people have a problem with Leslie Headland, Leslie Headland is a writer and a director of fiction. She literally did a time travel story on Netflix called Russian Doll, and they thought she was too much of an activist for being a lesbian. If they dislike her, imagine how much you're going to dislike this Rey director.
I'm still trying to understand what qualifies you to be a director in this sense, man.
They gave her $250 million to ruin the Star Wars.
They're like, kill it. Here's the money we paid you.
Yes.
Kill it.
Yeah, maybe Kathleen Kennedy hates Lucas trying to destroy his legacy or something. But that movie, it will be a miracle if it actually comes out something that's watchable and fun and good and accepting of all.
I just don't believe it can be, man. And just like I don't believe Agatha Hart is, I actually don't even think Agatha Hart is going to be a ripple, and it's just going to be bad. And like I said, I'm bracing myself for it to be bad, because all I got to do is get through this, right? And then if they can just land it with Captain America 4, Brave New World, easy plot, man. You got everything you need, man. You got the Red Hulk, you got Sam, you give him the super soldier serum, give us some espionage, some subterfuge.
Yes, boom. I agree. We just have to get out of this woke period of Marvel. I will tell you, I do believe Agatha all along will flop. I absolutely believe it will.
Oh, 100%. It's going to flop, man. I think it's getting real. They should just do an Echo with that one. Release it all at once. Don't make me wait weeks to see how bad it is.
Right. It's so sad. It's so pathetic. But once again, I don't have sympathy for it, because this is perfect. Like I said, IP mining. They were like, the actress did all right. Let's give her a spinoff. She has no fans. Her character isn't a big deal in the comic books. Who would go? Like, there's never been an Agatha comic. Why would you think she could hold down a show? It's absolutely bizarre. Red Hulk is a coming, says Izzy. Yeah, I can't wait for that. Rico says, put a chick in it and make it lame. Yes, exactly. In the immortal words of Cartman from Southwick, Agatha all along deserves to flop. What were they smoking? This is the epitome of IP mining. So I would argue that Echo and Agatha all along, even Hawkeye. I'm sorry, I'm sure there's some Hawkeye fans. That is IP mining. They're like, what Avengers are connected to females? And they're like, well, he had this sidekick. Okay, give him a show. Green Light is really her show. That's me winking like Kathleen Kennedy does, like she's a creep. She's a creep ass bitch. It's disgusting. And it you know, these people need to die in a fire. Did I just say that?
I agree 100%. Can I sidebar you for a second, man? Because it ties into this, man. Because you know we're gonna wax politics here in a little bit, but
yeah, we're gonna piss everybody off with that one.
So I postponed my episode on Mic Check for a little pump till Sunday, right? I was like, I'm gonna bring it to the show where I know they're gonna be people at, man. And I just took a large deuce on Lil Pump, right? Just his career, his credentials, but I gave him his accolades as well. I'm like, man, he's made a lot of money. So he's made money. I can't call him a overwhelming failure in his life. He's got more money than I do. And I would like to extend that same grace to Kathleen Kennedy. She got more money than me, man. She's doing great. She's a millionaire over and over again. But for the love of God, man, know when to say when. When does the response stop being that this is about a few fringe hate mongers to this is about people not wanting to watch what you produce? And if the MCU, and when is the Disney call? When's the investor call?
Oh, next week. Sure.
I think it's next weekend. If all they got to do with this part in the MCU, man, is say, hey, we're in the business of making money. And apparently, to make this money, we have to give people what they want to come see. And to do that, we have to take all things into consideration about the story we want to tell and the story people potentially want to see. And that's what we're focusing on. We're focusing on keeping this genre alive, or at least until we put a bow on this entire thing, or at least until we get into the mutant saga. This is what we got to do. And I just don't think Kathleen Kennedy wants to make that call, because she really does. I think she believes that at a certain point, it's going to pay off. People are going to see that in their hearts, they hate women. And this is why we have to keep going down this path.
Star Wars brand will be useless within like a year and a half. I think.
Yes,
It
yes,
will
yes.
carry no weight. I think Marvel they're fixing. They're coming in, and I got to tell you,
What up,
and
Sensei?
it's no offense. What up, Sensei? It's no offense to you or whatever, but I just want to correct something you said earlier, much earlier. You had said like you were talking about how it was the corporation's agenda, like they have this agenda, blah blah blah. It's not. It's not the corporate. They gain nothing by spreading wokeness, right?
Mm,
What it is that young. I'm telling you, this is what happened. A generation of young men and women who came out of business school were asked to like teach corporations what's new, what's innovative, what are we learning about in schools,
right.
and this is what they came up with. They were like, wokeness will be the currency of the future. If you want, and all the, and they're spinning all this thing because they're trying to be futurists, they're trying to predict what's happening, and so it's not that Kevin Feige has any skin on the game about feminism or whether you learn Pakistani history or some whatever the fuck they're teaching. He was just like, "What's the future?" And they're like, "It's all black and brown people and lesbian women expressing themselves and being heard," and he's like, okay, let's make some money. And that's what his feeling is.
Right.
The problem is all these kids who came out, there is no such thing as a futurist. I got to tell you, it's crazy. I laugh at people who have the phrase futurist and the thing. Nobody can see the future, and this is proof of it. Because these business kids have sunk everybody's brand. That
Right.
idiot woman who ran Bud Light into the ground is a friggin' idiot.
Right,
And
right,
all
right.
these other companies that are like, yo, if we get down with this, we're gonna be loved, and instead they're hated. And they're like, what? Well, my prediction went wrong, bitch. You don't have a crystal ball, so why are you thinking you can see the future? And so I'm glad that these companies are wising up, and they're like, you know what? Let's just put on a good show.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. Shout out to Deadpool and Wolverine, man. Shout out to doing what the fans wanted. Izzy says, imagine they do a crazy shift and drop a Marvel and DC crossover. Izzy, unfortunately, man, that would be way too much like right? That would be two studios trying to figure out how to get the biggest cash grab. And right now, what's going on at DC with their reboot and the James Gunn verse officially underway and getting ready to head out. James Gunn has no interest in going backwards in his mind. And that's exactly what he's thinking. He doesn't want to do any crossovers with Marvel. He feels as if though he's on the path to revitalize a franchise. And I'm going to say to James Gunn, same thing someone should have said to the writers and directors of the second Incredible Hulk movie. It ain't happening.
As a matter of fact, I gotta say, I like the first Hulk movie better than the Marvel one.
Really?
I like Ang Lee's one, yeah, better. You know what it is? They could have certainly had a better fight at the end because they have this abstract fight where he's in the clouds.
Yeah.
Fight, and they're trying to be all artistic. But however, as a movie, I'd rather watch Ang Lee's Hulk than MCU Hulk.
Oh, they've definitely butchered the Hulk in the MCU. I don't know how they save him at this point. And in fact, if the big reveal in Captain America 4 is that they're going to be multiple Hulks, and if we don't just get the Hulk right, like get him back to a place, like they can't even get Professor Hulk right, because even Professor Hulk had edge to him. He's not this bubbly character that they made him out to be in the MCU. Professor Hulk was brutal, bro. He was absolutely brutal, man. He'd sleep with your wife if he thought that was going to get the mission done. But
I really do wish they were legally allowed to do Hulk movies, because I'm probably a bigger Hulk fan than I am even Thor or any of these other guys, and I know more of the lore. And so Hulk going from gray Hulk, green to gray, him becoming Joe Fixit,
right?
Him becoming the Professor, this whole quest to get rid of the Hulk, mutating his whole ways. He has a really rich rogues gallery. I just think Hulk could have been really good if he had his own movies.
Yeah, absolutely. We're at the 54-minute mark here, man. You have some stuff going on policy-wise in regards to politics that you want to discuss, man. Now, you made a claim at the onset of this show when we were in the green room that Donald Trump, former President Donald Trump, is playing chess and everyone else is playing checkers. Well, if you're living under a rock somewhere, you might have missed the fact that Kamala Harris, Vice President Kamala Harris, because if you don't put some respect on her name, you're racist, has announced her VP pick. All right?
Bland. Bland. Here's the thing about it. Here's I'm gonna, because you know what's funny? I actually like Kamala Harris. I think she's a good woman. I like things about her. I don't have anything bad to say about her, basically, right? But I will say this, just in general, Democrats, males who are Democrats, are beta, effeminate, and hard to take serious.
Okay.
So when I saw this guy walk up and they're like, "Yay, it's a bland white man," I was like, "Is this the best they could do?" And then I realized that's who their entire party is. They don't have any. They got no caliente flavor in that party. Right? What I was talking about earlier, though, this is the craziest thing I've ever seen.
Okay, go ahead. Take me.
Okay, last week. Donald Trump goes to the National Association of Black Journalists. He believes Kamala was supposed to be there. She blew it off. He shows up, and I'm sorry to be a cliche. This is hysterical. The National Association of Black Journalists were late. They were like a half an hour late to start, and he points that out. He doesn't make the joke he could have made. We all know. But he's there, and he obviously this is a combative situation. People are attacking him, he's attacking them, and first he starts off with some jokes and he's doing all right, but it gets more and more hostile, and eventually he says something that makes me eye roll him. Me slap my head, me go, "Oh, you idiot, you just blew it."
Right. Okay, what did he say?
He said, "Well, is Kamala Harris black?" Because I always thought she was sporting being Indian.
Right.
All of a sudden she's black when she needs your vote. And I was like, "You idiot." And of course, the journalists there get pissed off. Right. It becomes national news, and everyone's talking about it. I was like, that was a stupid move.
Right.
Until couldn't help but notice on Twitter, and I couldn't help but notice even this morning on Good Morning America, they sent some white dude to a white dude who put on like a Michael Jordan.
Oh yeah.
To me, he's like, "I speak their language."
Right.
To I think it was Atlanta, Georgia, to a barbershop to talk to young black voters and see what they thought. And the thing is here's what Trump did, and it's crazy. The whitest man in the world, no offense, white people, was able to incept the black community.
Right.
Because now they are all talking about whether she's black or not.
Right.
And in the morning situation, he was like, so let me ask you, before we go any further, is Kamala Harris black? And the young black men are like, "Well, I'm not sure."
Yeah.
I'm not sure. To do research. We have to see what she has to say about this. Some are blatantly saying no.
Right.
And the black community is actually took Donald Trump's bait. And they are questioning, and it's not just this little thing that I saw. I've seen it already I see it on Twitter. Black Twitter, people posting things like, "Well, is she Indian or is she black?" Right. And that's why I think he's genius, because I was like, he was able to incept the black community with the idea that she's not black.
So, okay, here's the deal about this whole thing, man. And I saw that clip. The crazy thing about it is George Stephanopoulos is having a conversation with that black guy who's a governor, right? And he's like, "Do you think this is a good form of attack to keep bringing up?" Or he's just like, "Do you think, why does he keep bringing up her race? Why is that relevant? Why is it relevant?" Because it's only relevant if you're responding to something that's being said, right? And if something that is being said and has been said is that she is a black woman who is VP running for president, she's half black, she's half Indian. That's the response to the statement being made. Now, what these old fuddy-duddies don't know, and what your boy Steve is willing to expose, is that this conversation was happening on the internet prior to Kamala Harris, right?
Right.
There's been a long movement on the internet in regards to Black Twitter, like Instagram, social media platforms, the barbershop, about who's in and who's out. And in fact, our third correspondent is Bex in here. Is Bex in the chat?
Bex is in here. She's laughing her ass off. She can't formulate words. Our man Shellin says, I just happened to be watching the National Association of Black Journalists conference live. As soon as that dumbass started rambling after the first questions, I knew it was over. I had my hand over my mouth the whole time. Yeah, it was crazy. I really thought it was dumb for him to show up.
Yeah, but here's the thing, man. I just said it to Cincy in the chat, and I also said it to someone else, man. I feel no sympathy if Trump loses this election because he had the biggest layup that anyone could have. All you had to do was say, I almost died for this country, and keep saying that over and over and over again. I almost died to unify this country.
He can still use that. I think
I literally, it would be 9/11 all over again if I was Trump. Anytime someone asks me a question about the environment, I almost died for this country.
How dare you ask me about the environment? I took a bullet right here for this country, and you want to ask me about tariffs? I feel you're right. That's brilliant. I think you have a good strategy. I think
it's easy because I'm going to get back to Bex and I'm going to get back to the who's in and who's out conversation because you got to look at the power of the narrative, right? That's all the media is, whether it's conservative media or liberal media. It's about the narrative. And right now, the most effective weapon that they have on the left is the simplest one that I know some young intern told some old white dude there. He probably stood up in that liberal MSNBC session and said, man, that's just weird that JD Vance. And now that's the key word they're using to describe every male participant in the conversation.
Have you seen that Republicans are starting to make MAGA hats, but it just says weird?
Yeah.
It's not wearing it as a badge of honor.
Yeah.
So it's interesting. I'll tell you this. My mother, my sister, and I think at least one other female literally said to me when JD Vance was picked, I'm like, what do you think of him? And they're like, I don't know anything about him, but he looks like a creep.
Right.
And there's something about, he gives off like a creep child molester energy.
Yeah.
And I think that's why they're saying weird, because mainstream media is not going to say he looks like a pedo.
I think you have it. You're almost there. What it actually is these people don't remember their high school days. It doesn't matter that JD Vance, who's a former military, who's a military vet, right? It doesn't matter what he's actually accomplished in his life. It's how people perceive them and how I can play on that perception. So if one girl calls you weird, even though you ain't never said a word to that bitch, right? That's all it takes to turn the entire cafeteria against you.
All the women will turn on you. They're like, you know what? You're right. Mantis is weird. What a creep. You know, the other day he asked me.
He's so weird. He's so weird. He opened the door for me. And even though he opened the door for me, I just felt like it was a weird way.
Oh, so weird. Izzy says there was an interview or something where she told the Indian girl from the office that half her family looks like her. So yes, obviously she's half in. Yeah. Kamala Harris is half Jamaican, half Indian. This has not been a secret. Another thing is she went to a historical black college and she was in a black sorority.
Got to give it to her. Those are facts, right? Those are facts. So let's get back to the conversation of who's in and who's out, because you brought me back there, right? So prior to George Stephanopoulos or Snuffleupagus or whatever you want to call that motherfucker,
the raging white liberal. I love it. When liberals are angry, it's so funny. It's so funny.
The Greek who speaks, right? We just gotta. This is a conversation that's been going on the internet, and in fact, our third correspondent Bex, who I wish we could get on the phone right now, has been having this conversation about who's in and who's out for many moons, and black people have been having this conversation. I've told you before about the ADOS and FBA movement, right? Foundational Black Americans, American descendant of slaves.
I know it all too well because there's always some group kicking me out of the fucking black circle. They're like, what's he doing here? Like, oh, it was Kamala or some shit.
So this isn't a new conversation, but if you allow the internet to tell you, if you allow the popular media to tell you this, Kamala is the first person to ever be attacked about this situation. But in fact, black people have been having this conversation about Kamala and people like her for so long, and now it's just at the forefront. Listen to me when I tell you, Mantis, I don't care what race this bitch is, man. If she can run the country effectively, if she speaks to policies that are important to me, if her policies impact my family and the family of other Americans in a positive way, then she would get my vote if I wasn't a Christian. Now, here's the next thing for you lukewarm Christians. I'm going to be the one to say it. There's no way on earth you can make an argument that's legible that you are a Christian of fundamental belief structures, which doesn't make you a fundamentalist conservative, that you are a Christian Democrat. I'm sorry, the two things do not go together. It's like two dicks running into each other saying, you're the pussy. No, I'm the pussy. It don't make any sense, bro. It doesn't make any sense.
That was quite the analogy.
But you know what I'm talking about, man.
Here's what it is. I hear that all the time. As a matter of fact, I'm part of an online Bible study, and they say that like every week. And sometimes I'm like, why you got to bring politics into this? Now, I'm not there yet. I'm not there with the belief that you can't be a Democrat and be. I don't think you can't be a Democrat and a Christian. However,
right.
I would say you can't be a liberal and a Christian. Like if you're an extreme on that side, then you are definitely going to hell.
Listen, I stand 10 toes down on this, right? If you are a Christian that hoisted Donald Trump up as some type of messianic figure when he was running for president the first time, the second time, or even the third time, you are in sin. You are committing the sin of idolatry. That man is a flawed, idiotic man who can't help but say the next dumb thought that comes to his mind.
Right.
If you are a Christian that supports the policies that Kamala Harris has through and through, you're also in dire.
As you know, don't look at me. I don't vote. I'm not going to vote for her, right? But Shaolin says, I disagree. He fucked up his whole campaign attacking this woman. How are you going to act like someone with a Jamaican-ass father ain't black?
So here,
I did this fool not learn from Joe Biden? I don't know. I think.
So let's bring it back. According to the rules of Black Twitter, Black Instagram, and all other Black internet spaces, Kamala's dad is on record of saying that he's Indian, he's this, he's that. So did we take her black card, or was he one of these confused black people that thought that since his grandfather knew a Native American or knew a native to the island that he also shared this ancestry? Bex, goddammit, speak up. Bex is the perfect person to talk to about this. If you say I am Jamaican and then go on to say that I am this, and this, does that still make you black? I didn't hear you lead with black. I didn't hear you. For all you
so wait, your argument, is this your argument, or you're just pointing out an idea that like he needs to own his blackness in order to keep his blackness?
Yes.
Wait, hold on. So I will give you an example. So for instance, my mother, if someone were to ask her what are you, she would say Haitian. She wouldn't say black. Like the first thing that went out of her mouth wouldn't say black. She would say Haitian.
Well, my brother, I'm sorry to be the one to tell you this, right? Haiti is one of the most blackest places outside of the continent of Africa.
Yeah. Right. You say because I thought you were saying like you have to own your American blackness,
not your American. No, see, we're not going to boil it down to blackness because Kamala is not African American, right?
Right. She doesn't have the African American experience,
and I don't need her to have that. What I am doing is saying that this conversation started with the liberals hoisting her up as this. People responded to it, rightfully so. And now people are trying to pretend as if though black people don't have these conversations behind closed doors, snatching each other's blackness left and right. Someone needs to grab the mic from the white guys and be like, yo, my man, this is the black experience. Say one thing out of line, your card. Hell, there's a whole meme culture going on right now where there are four brothers who are huge in black shirts running around taking each other's black cards for something as trivial as not putting lotion on your ankles before you go outside.
Ashy motherfuckers. But Shaolin says, they lost when all they can talk about is what race she is. So I disagree. At first I did think he fucked it up. This is not hitting him as hard as it should have. It kind of hit him a little, and then he's still doing his thing.
Hold on. Go ahead.
All he did was put the idea out for people to question her blackness.
Wait, this is where you're all categorically wrong. Yo, your man Steve is morally obligated to keep you guys on code. People have been questioning her blackness before Trump. Before Trump. Y'all not going to sit here and remix history. Yo, they were questioning this woman's black card.
He brought it back into Funsville, man.
No, into Funsville, the liberals brought it to the front and center, and he responded to it. I'm no fan of how Trump's running his campaign, but can we be intellectually honest? Yo, people, it amazes me how Kamala is being turned into this liberal female Christ figure, where less than 5 months ago, y'all were ready to lynch this woman for not doing anything for the country, right? For being silent.
Which in a debate, she's going to get just trounced on. When the question is, what did you do the last 4 years other than shop? Right? And she's going to be like, I was by the beach smoking my blunt. You know how us black women do it. Because she needs to now play up her. Did you see her play up her black? Yo, she is the most ridiculous human. She's, what is Democratic? I just insulted Democratic men. Now I'm going to insult Democratic women. They are the most performative, silly ass people in the world. Did you see her come out of the record store?
Yes.
So people are questioning her blackness, and she goes to a record store and she happens to get caught, and they're like, "What do you have?" And she's bringing out like black jazz players, and she's showing all this black music. She's proving that she's black. It's so silly. It's the most silly thing I've ever seen.
Yo, there is a thing going around on the internet, and I swear Izzy made it, right? I swear Izzy put this together because it had Izzy written all over it. Yo, Kamala's talking to some people about how she makes the best collard greens, right? And at one point, her collard greens were in such high demand that she had to wash them in bathtubs to make sure she can meet the demand. And then it cuts to Robert Downey Jr. in Tropical Thunder when he's talking. I bet you I can color up these greens, get some of the crap. Yo,
I love that meme. It's hysterical. It's fucking hysterical.
Bex, where are you, Bex? Bex, come on, you gotta stand 10 toes down on this, man. We gotta get the people in here to talk about Kamala's black card, man.
Yeah, since he says, I don't even think I've ever been questioned about that, even though I'm mixed. But if black people flip the switch on Big O like they did, they'll do it on anyone based on the convenience at the time. So this is funny. You know why? He's talking about Big O. He's talking about our man Obama. Obama is like half white. And for some reason, white liberals were like, he's black. He's black. Yo, he got more. I feel he passed. Like, he basically. People didn't want to question his heritage, but they're questioning the shit out of hers right now.
No, Obama got that smoke, and this is where Trump. Now I got to ride on Trump a little bit, man. You know what Trump's biggest enemy is? It's his own mouth, right? The birther thing. That was the most idiotic shit that's ever come out of anyone's mouth, to call a sitting president to task and say, you got to produce your birth certificate to prove that you are who you say you are. And then again, like I said, I will not feel bad for Trump, because literally all he had to do to win this shit was say, I took a bullet for this country.
Well, wait, hold on. I agree with what you're saying. However, I don't think he should say that constantly all the time, because then he's going to kill it. He does need to play that card, and he still can. But remember, there's 90 days before the election.
Right.
You don't want to overplay that hand.
Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
He has a tendency, like you said, with the birth.
He's an idiot.
To say the most idiotic shit ever. And it doesn't blow up in his face. It works somehow for him. I think the Kamala thing is currently working for him.
I think that the anomaly, which was his first presidential run, this wrecking ball coming through, saying things that people had never heard from the debate stand or from the mic, that novelty has worn off. He's attacking career-long conservatives who have a strong base and Christian circles and calling them out. And I think that shit worked the first time. But when you're in a fight to win again, you need every conservative to be
still on works. What are you talking about? It's the entire party of Republicans are like, bow down to Trump. Trump is a boy.
No, bro, literally, he's on the outs.
There's no one standing against him right now. Absolutely.
Okay. Hold, please. Give me 1 second.
They're absolutely on his side. You might end up digging one or two politicians up, but ultimately, at the end of the day, they are all on his side.
I'm talking about this politician and his base, man. People are like, "Why are you attacking this guy?" And you're causing dissension in your own party movement. I separate MAGA conservatives from clear-thinking conservatives on most.
However, at the end of the day, the clear-thinking conservatives follow the MAGAs because they want to win, and he's what wins.
When has he won? He won one time. He lost the last time.
No, he was cheated out of an election, and it was completely utterly rigged. And I know you are a slave to liberal media. Just like right now, you're literally convinced that she's doing great. She ain't doing shit right now.
Wait.
Liberals like her.
When did I say she was doing great? Those words never left my mouth.
You literally were like, he's going to lose.
He's going to lose because of himself. He's going to lose.
He's not doing bad right now. He's not doing, according to polls, he's not doing bad.
Bro, she's within a thrown stone, and that's not even from a liberal poll. That's from an objective, non-biased poll of Americans. She's within a throne's throw. And if you're going to attack me, make sure you attack me on what I said versus what you think you heard. All right? I'm not quoting MSNBC.
Okay, Kamala shill. Present your argument right
I'm not. You're the shill. I'm not presenting an argument that Kamala,
I tell it like it is. You tell it how it should be.
No. I tell it exactly the way it's happening, and that will be on my tombstone. While everyone else thought they knew what was going on, I merely stated what happened.
So when Trump wins, I can bring up this recording and rub it in your face.
No, because you're going to have to say this. If he loses, play it back, just like I said at the onset and in the green room. If he loses, it will be because of himself. It will literally be because of himself and the way he runs his campaign. I do not think that you can seriously consider him a viable conservative candidate. All you can consider him is an avatar to keep Democrats out. But I don't know if that's right. I don't know if that's enough this time to carry him through to the White House.
So let me ask you, do you actually think that there is anyone who's a conservative, a mainstream conservative, not a MAGA, but a mainstream conservative, who's going to vote for Kamala over him?
What do you mean by mainstream conservative? Are you
saying the non-MAGA, anyone who's not MAGA?
So you're talking about the constituency.
Yeah, I'm saying a Republican who's like, like I said, like a normal Republican and isn't into this MAGA shit. Do you honestly think that they're going to be like, you know what, I'm going to vote for Kamala?
No, of course not. But is that enough? Is that enough to win him the election? He's got to pull people over to his side,
right? Moderates over to his side.
Yeah,
we're talking. I think he's doing it. I think he's doing a bang up.
But job. you have no evidence that he's doing it. I don't have any evidence that he's not doing it. We won't know until the actual.
To quote Kamala, I'm out here in these streets.
What streets? What streets?
The mean streets of Chappaqua.
What streets, man?
I'm seeing the energy, man. I'm seeing the energy. And people are not falling for this Kamala shit. That's what
I hope they're not falling for the Kamala shit. But I also hope people are voting in a way that is. I hope people are listening to their logical brain and not to the nonsense. Now, in regards to mainstream conservatives, he's got them in the bag because all he has to do is say, I am not approving late-term abortions up to 9 months. I am not approving this. I'm not. If he hits those talking points, he's got it in the bag. He's got it in the bag. But if he continues to rattle on for 2.5 hours, how does that pull over the moderate voter that's like, I want to vote. I want to vote for this guy, but I'm not entirely sure what the last.
You are pitching once again. I'm sorry, bro. Liberal talking points. It was only liberal media that was pissed how long he spoke. No conservative media complained about how long he spoke.
But that's not what we're talking about, and this is where you get lost in your own.
You just complained about how long his speech
moderate. Was. What did I say? He has to pull moderates over.
You're right, and you know what the average voter is? You know what the actual average voter is? Right. They are not someone who sits through the speech. They wait for the next morning to see the sound bites. They wait for sound bites, and you know what? He's a master of sound bites.
Mantis, can you please critique me on what I actually said? Did I not say that he has to hit these talking points? So you would agree that those talking points would have to be in the sound bite, right?
So here's what it is.
Just answer that question for me.
Let me speak, okay? I'm trying to answer your question. It's not as simple yes or no. It's something like this. You're talking about like points he needs to hit, but some of the things that you're saying are like they're like legitimate issues and smart, intelligent things. But that's not how people work. Voters are emotional beings.
Okay.
And so it's not. Here's what it is. And people are like, you need to stick to the issues. That's not how you win an election. You win an election from both issues, but also emotional. You want to hit people on emotional levels, and he's a master of doing that. And you know who doesn't evoke emotion? Kamala Harris and this white guy.
So we're talking about Trump right now. So you're talking about evoking emotion, right? So my point is, if you're saying that he has to invoke emotion and it has to be those small digestible bullet points for the moronic motherfucker that can't stay on a video for longer than 5 seconds. But if I'm a moderate, and moderates are saying, I want to be emotionally charged, I want to be emotionally connected to your policies, but if I'm unclear as to what you're saying, other than as Shaolin stated, and this is not about falling for liberal talking points, if all they're saying is Trump attacking this woman about her race, but not saying, hey, she did nothing at the border, right? She was nowhere in sight when when the market took a crash the other day, right? She was nowhere in sight. She has no legible answer how she's going to protect your 401k and make sure that you actually have something to live off of when you're an older person. That charges people emotionally. People want to know.
You are too intelligent for this. I'm sorry.
You heard it here, folks.
You know why? Because the two things that you talk about are they're facts and they're good, and a smart debater would use them. But you know what? They're not sexy. You know what's sexy? Kamala Harris, because that's what people get attracted to. Kamala Harris is a fake black woman, is a sexy talking point. Talking about finances that people don't fucking understand. They're not super into it. They want to hear salaciousness and bullying and shenanigans. That's what humans want. That's
my good brother, man. I love you like a fat kid loves cake, right? If your boy wins, right? If he wins, it will be proof without a shadow of a doubt that there is a God. Because he would have stumbled his way, as you like to say, up into the White House. And that will be proof enough. All of you people who are on the fence about if God existed in his providence, if Trump wins, you can know that the Lord said that was supposed to happen.
So here, I think that is a funny joke, but I will say this. It's not because of God. It's because he understands that humans are salacious animals that like talking points that are savage and nonsensical. So when he says she's really an Indian, she's a fake black, right. People talk about that and they're into that. If somebody's just like, well, you know, she didn't really do her duty over at the border, people are not that into that. You see what I'm saying? So I think that if he wins, it's going to prove that he understands human nature, that humans are disgusting animals.
Right.
That gnaw on the fucking juiciest bone.
Do you want me to
intelligent bone?
Do you want me to cut this clip out? Because you kind of, in a way, just prove Shaolin's point that your candidate doesn't have any substance to him other than
he doesn't. I'm the first to say it. Shaolin is right. Here's what I'm saying. All of these liberals that I talk shit about, I'll even say this right now. Hillary is really smart, and like all of them, they're very together. They got their shit together and all this shit. But that is the problem. That's why they don't win elections unless they cheat at them.
Right. Okay.
Because you know what I'm saying? Because they're the nerd who's like, "Oh yeah, I'm talking about the issues," and then like Donald Trump is the football player is like, "Shut up, nerd! I fucked your girl," and guess what? Your candidate isn't really black. And then he shoves their face in the garbage, and that's who people respond to. But I'll be the first. Here's what I'm saying. You know why he's my candidate? He's not my candidate because I actually believe in him. He's my candidate because he's the one who's more likely to do things that benefit what I want. But I do. Trust me. Here's what it is. If I could clone Obama and make him a conservative, the conservative Obama, I would do that. But I can't. Unfortunately, on the conservative side, we've got Lauren Boebert, we've got Marjorie Taylor Greene, and we've got Donald Trump. So I don't have a lot of people to pick from. You know what I'm saying? So what I'm saying is I will side with Trump just to get what I want.
But here's where the conversation goes really left, man. And I just want to use this as a sounding board to critique some things, right? Okay, so basically you're saying Trump is going to skate in. I feel like that chick, what this reminds me of? We both said basically so much, that woman that tried to get an I got him on Jordan Peterson. And she's like, basically you're saying, he's like, no, bitch, that's not.
Yes. You remember everyone, whenever somebody who you're debating says, so basically you would say no. Even if they describe you perfectly. So basically what you're saying, that is not what I'm saying.
Here's the thing, right? As we examine this, entire run up 91 days until the actual election, I just want to hear you say it, man. Is there a way in your mind that Trump legally loses this election?
So you know what I like? What I do like about this particular election is it is early in the game.
You're about to see poli-sci mantis come out right now, right?
Yeah, because the truth is, the game can flip even after a debate. Let's say they have a debate and she catches on something. I'll give you an example. This was wonderful. Kamala freaking got ahead of the numbers. She ended up losing the debates when she was trying to be president, but she did so well in the beginning. When she pulled she said Biden was the poster child and voted against busing children.
Right.
And she said there was once this one black girl who had desires to do blah, blah, blah. And she goes, and every day she had to get on her bus and watch as the white kids got on their bus and go to the better school. And she could never live out her dreams. And that little girl was me. Like, brilliant. That was freaking brilliant. And so here's what I'm saying. It takes one good hit during a debate to flip it around.
Okay.
Right. And right now, here's what I'm saying. Right now, Kamala's got a lot of energy. She's got a lot of momentum, a lot of momentum. However, I don't have faith that she's going to be able to zing him in debates. I think she's going to look stupid in debates.
No, I get you. I hear you. Is there a way that you think Trump legally, that you would accept, loses this election?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not like that type of conspiracy where it's like it's impossible for. I don't think he's that far ahead. I don't think he's that far ahead, or he's unstoppable. But he could absolutely legally lose this election, of course.
What are the things you think will cost him the election?
So if he fucks up in debates and lets her zing him, who knows? She could break out something. You know what? Who knows? Maybe she could pull some play where like she cries on Mike and is like, he's a racist. Maybe that'll work. You don't know. And that's what I like about politics is that you don't know what they're going to pull out next.
Right.
And so one week he's getting assassinated. The next minute, the old man is stepping down for his possibly black VP to take over. The next minute, the Trump is questioning her blackness. It's a drama. It's going up and down. We never know. So she could do some winning moves. He could do some winning moves. It's anyone's game right now. I know she's got a lot of momentum. Here's what it is. This was the perfect way somebody said it. Somebody said, when I was looking at Biden as my forced candidate, I felt like I was at a funeral. But now that he's been removed, I feel like I'm in an open bar wedding.
Okay.
Yeah, right. And so people are loving that energy, but will that energy last 90 days? I think people will settle into that, and she needs more. She needs another boost
Right.
in order to stay relevant.
So you think that a good zinger during the debate, public perception being shifted those are the ways that you think he could lose this election.
Yeah, and even like I said, when I saw what because I was watching it live too, like Shaolin, and when he finally said, because he was already combative with the people, but when he said, "Is she even black?" I was like, "Fuck!" And I believed that would sink him.
Right.
And then what do I'm looking on Twitter and Instagram, and people are literally having the conversation, "Is she really black?" I was like, "Damn, this guy's good."
Well, people are already having that conversation. Okay.
But he brought it front and center, right?
But yeah, and it could prove the work against him. Now, again, like you said, I am too intelligent for this. I am not your average voter, and thank you for recognizing how intelligent I am. Often, like I was telling Bex the other day, man, my humility, me being the most humble motherfucker you'll ever meet. In fact, I would go out and say there's no motherfucker more humble than me. I invented the word humble in my face.
Okay.
Humble. And what was the other truth I told about myself last week? I'm a loving and caring and,
clearly a lie, guys.
I think Trump can lose this in one clear way, man. The secret voter, the person who screams they're going to vote for this person, the person who screams Trump, but then just doesn't have the balls to do it, right? I think that can cost them the election.
I don't think that's a thing.
I think it's a thing. Now, again, I'm going to, and again, I said I think. I cannot prove this. I am not on the side of the table that says the last election was stolen. I am, however, the type of person that believes that Trump gave it away, right? I think that he started flaring and flailing during the last election, and Joe Biden stayed on code, and Trump lost the solid vote that he needed from women who pretend to be more conservative than they actually are.
If that's what you want to believe.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing about Kamala, right? I think you're underestimating the coalition that she's built on her side, right, man? There's nothing more dangerous than a bunch of politically charged black women who are projecting their life experience onto their Messiah candidate and are now propelling her into. Go ahead.
What happens when she fails to live up to that black standard? What happens when it's revealed that she's not really a sister?
You and I know that that's going to happen. But that, like you said, people are emotional. And this is the problem I have. People are emotional. Right now, it's just all hands on deck. Where the hell is Bex? Have you noticed how Bex is really silent?
Bex has been, she's been
really silent on the Cincy, where is Bex on the Kamala Harris?
Basically, Kamala Harris. Right? Fake ass black. Shaolin says, in fairness, I honestly think Biden is less creepy and just old as hell.
Right.
I think using your early dead son for sympathy is creepy, says
yes.
Nobody thinks Kamala is sexy. No, she's not. She's an aunt. She's like an aunt. She's not. Oh, she's your cool aunt
that wears fake Timbs. Not even the cool Timbs. That's how lowbrow this shit is, man. I'll never forget when she came down the plane steps with the Timbs on, and that was news that was pumped in front of us. Like, she's got Timbs on. But then again, Trump did make sneakers and sold them. And then the Fox correspondent said, this is very popular with the blacks.
Izzy says Shaolin Iceboxer got full-size cutouts of Kamala in his crib. Chill, Izzy. That's for Inner Circle talk. Oh, Kamala cries for votes. That's what I'm saying. Women, no offense, girls, but women cry for votes, right?
I love how you said girls and then women. Nothing says a good job, according to Mantis, better than a firm smack on the ass.
Way to go, girls. Now fix me a drink. Kamala is equivalent to Black George Bush from the Chappelle Show. The reality is that since 2016, people have been voting against the other party, not their own party. I think, I think that has predates 2016. I think people have been doing that a long time. To be honest, I honestly think this huge division between the parties, it all comes back to the year 2000. And that was Bush versus Gore. And remember, the Supreme Court, it was such a close vote that the Supreme Court decided George Bush was the winner. And since then, butts have been hurt. And motherfuckers are angry.
They do her like they did Obama exactly. Let me since he's agreeing with people turning on Kamala, if they ain't 6-inch wheats, are they really
right?
They're not. Mantis, my good brother. So you levied a bomb against me earlier. You said I'm a shill for the liberal media, right? Yeah. Shill for the liberal media. Now, do you think that conservatives are having these type of conversations between each other? Like, don't you think it's odd that you cannot critique Donald Trump if you're a conservative, or you're considered a shill for the liberal media? Like, is he above reproach? Or you're just not supposed to not supposed to say anything publicly?
Yeah, it's a public thing. So like, it so I'll give you an example. Yeah, it's absolutely a public thing. So I'll give you an example. Remember in the beginning when Kamala was like, they were like, Biden's up and down, Kamala's the thing. Do you remember how they were all like, different Democratic groups were shitting on each other?
Yeah.
That's not good. That's not good football. Let me put it like that. You know what I'm saying? Like even when your coach has a stupid play, you have to back him. And this is about winning at the end of the day. This isn't about. Here's what it is. Someone's like, I just need to tell my truth. Oh, okay. Is it good if it loses your candidate their election? Shut the fuck up about your truth. Put it in your back pocket and like. Tweet about it after they win. Right. But like you speaking your truth right now is like, here's what I'm saying. All Democrats, if they're smart, will get behind Kamala and they will shill for her, and that's smart.
Right.
That's smart football. And the same thing. I actually think Republicans are better at playing this game. And like I said, there's like mainstream Republicans who are like, MAGA people are crazy. But however, they know, well, he is the heir apparent. I'm going to follow him, and I'm going to try my best not to publicly prove that I hate him.
Okay. So
and that's smart politics.
So publicly proving that you hate him is to say that, hey, I wish he would just focus on the things that are of concern to me.
Yes, because you know what it is. That's the liberal. Here's what it is.
That's liberal. The what? Okay, go ahead.
So a liberal wants to talk about what if. Let's have a thought experiment. Let's discuss this.
Right.
Okay, dumbass. We want to win. You can have your thought experiment. We're going to win the election.
Okay. So when can conservatives voice their concerns
after he wins? After he wins.
Only after he wins.
Because if you do it while, that could cost him votes, which would make him not win.
Him votes.
And what it is the point is that like here's my take on it.
Yeah.
Trump is way better a win than Kamala is a win.
Okay.
So if I say something, let's say I say something public, I'm like, Donald Trump's an asshole, and a bunch of people are like, you know what, you're right, I'm not gonna vote for him. And that costs him his election, then I'm stuck with this baby killing fake black socialism for all, universal income chick, right? And so that would be horrible. That would be horrible for, as we all know, the Democrats just got us into a recession, right? And so we don't want more of that. And so because I don't want the baby killing and I don't want the recession, I'm gonna say I don't like what Trump has to say, but I'm gonna bite my tongue until he wins.
So free speech doesn't live here.
It does. What I'm saying is this is a tactic. Here's what I'm saying. I don't think we should have the right to limit their speech. However, this is like a family thing. You look at your family and you just go,
right.
Shut the fuck up, bro.
Right,
Shut the fuck up right now.
I want to go back to something. So who is he going to lose votes from if conservatives critique him in public? He's going to lose conservative votes, or he's going to lose moderate.
Yeah. Like we've said, like I keep calling them, the mainstream Republican, who might be, who like, they're all on board, and all it takes is one voice for one of them to go, you know what? I'm not gonna vote for this son of a bitch. All it takes is one governor, one senator to start the dog pile, right?
Right.
So I'm not saying revere him. He's not a god. God didn't place him here. God didn't place any politician here. They're all scum. But what it is he gets me certain things that I want and need. And so therefore I'm gonna back him, and if any of members of my party are talking shit, I'm gonna have words with them.
Let me ask you a question. When Trump got elected the first time, and the procession of black leaders and black celebrities went to go meet him at the Ivory Gold Tower, which is Trump Tower in Manhattan, what did you think about the criticism of those black men, those black leaders going to meet with him when he'd been elected president?
So back in the in 2016, I looking back on them, they're fucking heroes, right? But there was such. Here's what it is. Right. We literally felt like if you revealed yourself to be a Trump supporter, it was worse than coming out as gay. You could be lynched by your own family. You could be disowned. You could lose your job. No one in a blue state wanted to admit that they were a Trump supporter, right? I wasn't a Trump supporter. I voted Green Party that year.
Yeah.
Right. Even I was not into that. But what I'm saying is, people who really were we're gonna support him, I think they're heroes. Okay. Because I would never have said. It's only recently that I've come out, like, if you look at our old videos, I was definitely not Trump. I used to talk shit about him all the time. And so basically what it is Democrats decided to be so fucking disgusting that I finally was like, you know what? I've had enough of these animals. Right. Fucking enough. And I'm sure there's some white bitch, some white ally right there who's like, animals? You're calling Kamala Harris an animal? You're a racist. Yeah, I might be, because she is a fucking animal.
Right.
And it has nothing to do with her race. She's just a fucking animal.
Okay. I mean, obviously, allow me to push back on that, right? Because I actually believe in free speech, right? But I don't believe in free speech free from consequences. You can say anything that could cost you something, and if that's your conviction, you stand on your conviction. Here's what I'm saying. I don't think mainstream conservatives or traditional conservatives speaking out against Trump, not just speaking to the policy and focusing on uniting the country, is a bad thing. Because I think you need to have that voice of reason there, right? There has to be a voice of reason that says, hey, man, this is my candidate, but we can never forget these things, right? We can never forget that these are the key issues that this platform is for. Because if you don't say that shit out loud, he'll start believing that whatever he says is a key issue is a key issue. We forget sometimes that politicians are elected by us. The power moves upward, right? And for as long as I will remain on this blue little dot in this experiment called humanity, I will not be hushed by a Shaniqua, a Tom, a Jerry, or anyone, right? I will say openly that I question Kamala, not based on her ethnicity, but they're on her lackluster career, right? And that doesn't cost me any social capital, as well as I will question Trump on what seems to be, and I'm not the only person, right? What seems to be a non-strategical approach to his campaign. Now, if the man wins, then again, I stand on that's proof that there's a God, and the providence of God said that I want to make sure I stay judgment from this country for another 4 years. And I've said that publicly before. I don't think Trump is anything more than an instrument, right? And if the instrument that he's being used as is to keep people from killing babies at 9 months, then that's the instrument he is. But you must say out loud, like, hey, these are the issues that are important to me. Because I think that's where people got shamed into not revealing who their vote is, right? People got shamed because they're scared to say what they believe in, man. This is what I believe in. And as you so eloquently said before, if he's all you got, then he's all you got. But on the other side of it, the coalition is working hard at chopping down at these arguments, right? Because you're thinking about it from a mantis vantage point. Now we got to think about it from the black man that's being attacked. Oh, and we are being attacked. We are being attacked. This already started. That one bald-headed bitch that's on MSNBC saying you're going to look real stupid standing on the other side of history if you vote for this man and not for Kamala. See,
don't you love that when they say they're like, you're on the wrong side of history? I'm like, for starters, how do you know? Right? But also, like, they try to shame you. It's like Stephanopoulos.
Yeah.
He literally tries to shame his guests into silencing their opinions, even though they're guests on an interview show.
And it's a black man he's saying this to, by the way. This was a black man that he was saying this to.
The fucking audacity of that. No offense, white people, that white prick. Rico says, my theory is Trump getting shot was an endorsement from elites. What?
Interesting. Bex says, I don't know what Steve wants me to say. Bex, I want you to say what's in your heart. I want you to say what's in your heart about mixed race people, who's black, who's not. I want you to speak your truth. That's all I want you to do.
As he says, he said she's a monkey. He didn't say that.
No, he's talking about you.
Oh, I did say the bitch was a monkey. Needs to go back to the jungle. No. Because you know what's funny about that? Both Africa and India both have monkeys and jungles. So there you go.
Oh, there you go. A little geographical.
Jesus, that was racist.
Yeah, you are. You're a horrible person, man.
Wait, hold on. So you know what's funny? My a friend of mine, after Trump, because she's on the other side, and so after Trump said the race comment at the National Association of Black Journalists, she immediately texted me and she said, so how do you feel about Trump saying such disgusting things? You know, woman, they're always triggered. They're always emotional. And so I pointed out and I said, basically it's like this. Basically, this is how I sleep at night. They are fighting for the presidency, which means it is Donald Trump's duty. That's right, his duty to lash out at his opponent with any arms at his disposal.
Right. Okay.
So if he needs to go there, he needs to go there, right?
Well, I mean, again, I don't think,
and I don't blame her for doing the same.
Again, I don't think he's going anywhere that hasn't been gone before, right? You know what's going to wind up happening? Mike Check this Sunday. I'm going to put together a little 15-minute reel in between my segments of all the things black people have said about Kamala Harris, right? Before she ran for president.
All of this, yeah.
Before she ran for president. And I think that has a lot to do with hip hop. In fact, that's how we got to this idiot Lil Pump on Mike Check, right? Lil Pump.
You just can't get off the Little Pump. Little Pump really grinds her gear.
He does, and Amber Rose grinds my gears as well, man. Because it's just like, it's not the campaign I would run, but you know what? You're right, man. I'd probably lose because I'd be trying to run on a platform of substance, and apparently I should not be doing that. I should just be up here being like, that bitch is stupid.
You're right. When I went to get my wine, I'm sorry, Daddy's medicine today. The guy, the shopkeep was talking about it. He's like, I like Trump, but I just wish he would stick to the issue. Here's what it is, Steve, and you know that this is true. Mm-hmm. We all humans, think more highly of themselves than is real.
Yeah,
they think. So basically, here's what it is. If you ask any human, you'll be like, would you prefer them to talk to you emotionally or about the issues, your candidate? 99% of them are going to say, I wish they would stick to the issues. However, 90% of them will respond to emotional shit. Right. Because it's more fun. And so what it is people have an idolized basically like a fake image of who they are themselves.
Right.
Like they're like, I like substance. You don't really like substance. You like fucking mud and disgustingness, you animal.
No, I agree with you on that, because even when I brought up the governor from Georgia, I believe it is. Now, again, this is a man, Trump who dissed a man in front of him and dissed his wife, and then that man turned around and endorsed him. So you got me there, bro. You got me there. Didn't think that was gonna happen. I know I'd have smacked the shit out of Trump.
Right. And so here's the thing: if you're a man of substance and you're a man of character, you're not going to do good in politics, because only disgusting guys
win. But does that make conservative males beta? Why didn't Ted Cruz stand up to him? Is that not some beta shit?
It's so beta. I would never vote for Ted Cruz after seeing that. That's like what, he dissed his wife and his father. He was like, your woman's ugly and your dad's a murderer. Like, what? That was pathetic. That makes me so disgusted by this man.
And when he says he's disgusted by this man, he doesn't mean Trump. He means Ted Cruz.
Ted Cruz. Because I'm like, the bully just fucking played you, and then you endorse him. Like, what is wrong? What is wrong?
Man just would be like, "Oh, this is horrible." Give Trump a high five and look at Ted Cruz like, you should be ashamed of yourself.
I've been having more and more problems with like dealing with betas and beta society. I think I told you that I've been flip flopping between two churches, my old church and my newer church, and I like really like my new church, but like my old church, I have all these connections on all these things, and I decided to be like, this Sunday, I'm gonna go to my old blue, and I got to see some progressive Christians speak, and males, and I have to say, I almost vomited right in my own lap. It was so hard to watch.
Right.
Someone who's such a beta and so soft. It's sickening. And I don't understand how Democrats do it. I do not understand Democrats sit around these people and listen to them all day long. It's crazy.
You know what, man? I love you. I love having these talks with you, man. Bex says, I've been saying shit though. Y'all wasn't listening to me. Bex, I was listening to you. I was just disagreeing with it. And I disagree with this whole sentiment. But I just think it's strange, right? I think it's strange that people are like, Trump is questioning her race. I'm like, no, don't worry. We were doing that already. I'm just trying to bring the barbershop conversation to the forefront. Why can't we just bring that to the forefront, man? Why don't black people want people to know what we say behind closed doors outside?
Well, because even though I call black culture a subculture, it's stronger than any subculture. It's absolutely stronger than any subculture. It's a real juggernaut of a thing, and so it has validity. But also, they don't want to advertise, right? So, and here's what I'm saying. Why am I saying they? They're like, Mantis, don't you identify as black? Of course I do, but like, I feel like the gatekeepers of blackness.
Yeah. Here we go.
They are on some other shit, I have to say. You know what I'm saying? Like, here's what I'm saying. If I'm walking in the streets, and you do the head nod, and they do the head nod, and they're like, "What up? Yeah. What up?" Well, I know what's up. They are different people than the people in the barbershop who are saying, "This motherfucker ain't black." This motherfucker ain't black, and they're on some other shit. And dare I say it, are they the black Illuminati?
Listen to me, man. I would say that they are, and I try not to speak out against the black Illuminati and all that shit, because they'll get you at your height. But Tariq Nasheed, I'm just gonna throw some names out for you, right? You do your own research. Tariq Nasheed, Rizza Islam, O'Shea Duke Jackson, and anyone that is a Hebrew Israelite, go look at their pages and see what they're saying about Kamala Harris. Go to Black Media Liberation, see what they have to say about Kamala Harris. They're not questioning her race, but they are most certainly questioning her unity with the community, for sure. Don't want to misquote anyone. I'll let you hear what they're saying themselves. And yeah, now I do have the clip queued up of the guy going into the barbershop, mixing it up with the people. It's Matt Walsh, so we got to get through a little Matt Walshiness. And also, he's got a new film coming out, by the way.
Wait, so that's got to be a different one, because I saw a different one with what wasn't Matt Walsh.
No, it's not Matt Walsh. I'm saying Matt Walsh is commentating on the clip that you saw.
Oh, right. Okay.
But I will give Steven Crowder his props. He did this about a few months ago. Steven Crowder went to a few different black barbershops, and I was not disappointed because, again, I've been getting my haircut in black barbershops my entire life. And I was not surprised by the shit these brothers were saying. It didn't blow my mind.
Lo says Mantis would be the Trump of that race, pushing poor Steve around the debate floor. All Trump has to do is force Kamala to speak to actual issues. That's what I'm saying. She is not.
No, that's not what you're saying. I'm saying he's got to force her to speak to actual issues. You're saying that all Trump has to do is get up there and be like, this bitch dumb.
Yeah, because people don't really listen to issues. That's the thing.
Yeah, exactly. So Lo,
it's sad. Isn't it sad? That is sad. Right?
So Lo, get that shit right. In a debate, this is how this shit always goes when I debate somewhere, man. The crowd turns on me the minute I say something that they don't like, which is the truth.
Right.
The minute we were debating, I can't remember what it was, and this room was filled with a bunch of hippies, crystal worshiping motherfuckers, and I said, I want to say something to you people, and I want to make sure I help you with this. There is no subjective truth. There is only objective truth. The truth. There is your experience, but your experience does not trump facts. And you would have thought I said, I want all of y'all motherfuckers to get on your knees and suck my dick, because y'all started losing your minds. Like, no, there is subject. I'm like, no, there is no such thing as subjective truth. there is only.
Right, and because I was backing it at the time, I was loved, right? And so, and just to let you guys know, I will admit when Steve is right, and I will say Steve did convince me to stop using that phrase, my truth, your truth, subjective truth, that kind of stuff. Steve can be right sometimes.
No, Steve is right all the time, but the irony is that, but here's my point in this regard, my brother. I agree with you. You have pegged humanity for exactly what it is. But I'm saying, and I will stand on this, if he loses, I'm going to place it squarely at his feet. Now, because you have your finger on the pulse of conspiracies and insanity, that's why I asked the question, is there room for Trump to a place where he can legally lose his debate? Because we dodged one bullet with a civil war, literally by it passing through his ear. I think the next thing that could kick the shit off here is if he loses, motherfuckers are going to lose their mind.
Yes. We will lose our mind.
And you will have more January 6th style. My favorite holiday. You've heard me say this before. Insurgency Day. My favorite holiday.
Yeah, right. So I'll say that. So I'll give you an example. I actually do believe there were things that Hillary Clinton could have done in 2016.
Thank you, Merlin. Yeah.
To actually win the election, and she just failed to do it, and so she's an idiot. And so like I said, I think it's anyone's game. It's anyone's game, right?
Yeah.
They have to, they're playing chess against each other.
Right.
Problem is, Kamala Harris ain't no chess player. Sorry.
No. You know what's crazy? What if she is, though? What if we all get a? What if she's been playing chess this entire time? She's like, listen, you old crusty motherfucker, you're gonna run again. I lost because that Hawaiian goddess just defeated me in a public forum. Now you're gonna run.
Hawaiian goddess.
You're gonna run, and you're gonna help me get in this motherfucker. And you're gonna like Kamala's holding Biden by his collar. Do you hear me, Joe? Do you hear me? Do you want to lose another son?
He said, do you want to lose another son? You ready to do this?
Let's do it.
Kind of a funny moment. CNN went to a black barbershop in Pennsylvania to talk to them about the election, and obviously was counting on and hoping for certain reaction, certain feedback, but they were shocked and scandalized by what they discovered.
Welcome in, D.
CBS network anchor went to a central Pennsylvania barber shop seeking some candid conversation.
Thank you, D.
Among the revelations, that some of the black men that he interviewed did not regard Harris as black.
Is Kamala going to make you a little more likely or less likely to vote Democrat?
Well, hold on, wait, first, Ray, hold on, Ray. Is Kamala black, yes or no?
I'm going to let her speak on that. But to me, no.
Oh, is Kamala black, yes or no?
I share that same view.
Wow, is Kamala black, yes or no?
I heard she was. I heard she's half black and half Asian.
When I played that audio on my SiriusXM radio program on Thursday, many callers who self-identified as African American were quick to tell me that those men were the exception, not the rule. Some described them as low information voters, no different than you'd find among whites.
Okay, so that was.
Whoa! So what he's saying is some rich blacks, aka white people, tried to disown themselves from the idea of these barbershop regular blacks, right?
Yeah.
That for starters, Smirkanish is such a fool that he didn't realize like how stupid that looks. Him saying this and do it. Here's what it is: a white liberal. Once again, I'm complaining about white liberals. Will understand that and be like, good thing educated blacks aren't like these barbershop barbarians. However, the barbershop barbarians represent mainstream blackness, and some Ivy League, the guy who listens to Smirkanish's podcast, I can only imagine what the brother who does that looks like. Is probably not high in number, not, he's not a popularist, right?
Bro, here's the crazy part about it. The black bourgeoisie is in full force of Kamala because, like you said, they're getting behind their candidate and who represents their interests, right? The hilarious part is, one, this white man showed up in a blazer and a shirt with Jordan. And someone told him, like, yeah, this is the day to wear it. You've been waiting to wear it. This is the day to wear it.
It's been sitting in his closet this whole time.
To the equating them to low information white voters, him making that statement almost came across as to me like, hey, don't worry about it. This is the stamp of approval by the blacks that are in line. They're on code. They understand. These guys are just French conspiracy people. But at the same time, this is a conversation that's happening in many black homes where black males are asking, how does Kamala advance my interests as a black man? Is she willing to levy millions of dollars towards my small independent business as they've done for black women? Bex made a comment earlier and it said, and the black woman will lead them. I think she was quoting something from a crystal book somewhere. I don't know where that quote came from. But does Kamala represent the interest of African American, Nigerian American, Kenyan American, black males, Jamaican American males? Does she represent their interests? I was making fun of Trump because I felt like he was going to, talk his way out of the moderate conservative vote. Kamala is struggling to get black men to identify with her. Now, according to Van Jones, there were about 30,000 black men on a call somewhere where they all said they're going to defend this sister. I don't know who those 30,000 black men were, but I suspect that some of them I suspect that some of them were also on that call, white guys for Kamala as well.
so you know how they've been doing the races or whatever? The latest one is so ridiculous. It's like it's AAHIRN or something for Kamala, which really just means Asians, but it's all some good. But here's the problem: they made such a big deal about white women for Kamala and white dudes for Kamala. I noticed there was no big press release for black dudes for Kamala.
No, there is no rollout.
You know why? Because that doesn't exist. That's not a thing.
Yeah. It's a fall in line or you're on the wrong side of history. And that's the message that's being pushed. We're going to guilt you into it. Can you just play a little bit more of this and we can wrap?
Oh, yeah.
I know we're getting...
That wasn't CNN that went. That was, what they say, CBS. Anyway, it's all the same. Pretty hilarious. They, of course, went there hoping for the opposite. They were hoping that the black guys at the barbershop would talk about how offended they were by Trump's comments. Instead, they agreed with his comments, basically questioning the blackness of Kamala Harris, which is great. Now, I still don't think that this question about Kamala's race is a question that the Trump campaign needs to focus on. And they don't seem to be focusing on it, but it is funny and perhaps kind of telling that they got that answer. And at any rate, it's not Trump. The Trump campaign may not be focused on the question of Kamala's race, even if Trump did bring it up at the during that interview. But the media's focused on it. So here was George Snuffleupagus on ABC, also on Sunday, berating Byron Donalds.
Before we go on to it, I love how angry white people feel that they can shame anyone into any behavior. They're like, I'm the authority of how you should act. I'm disgusted. Do you see the tone I'm taking with you, sir? Oh, you should be ashamed. It's ridiculous.
Bro, did I ever tell you about the time I had a conversation with a guy in California while I was on drugs many months ago? And he basically laid out an argument that was prophetic. Now that I think about it, he was like, I feel like more black people should be angry in California. And I'm like, angrier than they actually are right now? He's like, yeah, but not angry at white people. They should be angry at immigrants. He was like, I don't understand why black people don't fall in line with us in regards to immigration policies. You guys are the ones that are losing the most in this whole conversation. And at the time, I was like, do I whoop this motherfucker's ass? Or do like I was really in a place where I'm like,
to defend immigrants?
No, because it was so presumptive to tell me who black people should be angry at. Like he weighing in on the conversation, because whenever you say something like that, it's like, stop thinking about this shit and get mad about this. I'm like, well, if you would just acknowledge this shit, then maybe people would move wherever, but don't presume who anyone should be angry at. But now that is one of the campaign talking points, isn't it? Black people should be entirely concerned about immigration. And it's working in some circles, man. It's working in Chicago.
You know why? Sure. Because people in Chicago have lost their community centers and lost their men's shelters for immigrants. Right? Illegal. Here's what it is. I love immigrants. My parents are immigrants. Illegal immigrants come and they take your shit. What is that? What the fuck? You know, when you think about it, you're like, they're not even citizens. They don't even have rights yet. They get the men's shelter and the community shelter. You know, sometimes they take schools.
Well, they didn't take them. They were given to them.
Right, but what I'm saying is, why are they being treated better than citizens? But let's see what Matt Walsh has to say.
Of course, a black Republican congressman about this issue, and
I love this.
It's and this is an exchange that goes on for like 3 or 4 minutes. We won't play the whole thing. We'll play a minute and a half, 2 minutes of it. But he is. I want you to watch as he is simultaneously berating Byron Donalds for talking about this, while also insisting that he keep talking about it. So it's a very interesting dynamic here. Let's watch.
And you just repeated the slur again. If it doesn't matter, why do you all keep questioning her identity? She's always identified as a black woman. She is biracial. She has a Jamaican father and an Indian mother. She's always identified as both. Why are you questioning that?
Well, George, first of all, this is something that's actually a conversation throughout social media right now. There were a lot of people who are trying to figure this out. But again, that's a side issue, not the main issue. The main issue.
Sir, 1 second. You just did it. You just did it again.
Of the United States.
Why do you insist on questioning her racial identity?
You want me to talk?
I want you to answer my question.
George, now that you're done yelling at me, let me answer. He talked about it on the stage yesterday in Atlanta for 2 minutes? He spent more than 35, 40 minutes going after her record, talking about how radical of a senator that she was. She was the most liberal senator in the United States, in the United States Senate. That is a fact. He talked about the job that she did as vice president of the United States, a job, I will add, which has been a failure for the American people. I know you guys like to glom on to this that he talks about in jest or in a serious manner for about a minute or so, but what you do not cover is the litany of failures of Kamala Harris. That's what you're not covering, George.
So questioning somebody's racial identity for a couple minutes is okay?
He's obsessed with it.
George, I'm going to tell you again, he brought it up. AP is the one that wrote the headline when she first came in to the United States Senate. Didn't talk about her being black, talked about her being the first Indian American senator. AP brought that up.
If it doesn't matter, I don't understand why you keep on repeating it, why the president keeps on repeating it, why those introducing the president yesterday
George,
keep on
actually,
repeating
I'm not
it.
the one who keeps repeating it. George, you're the one that's bringing it up now.
Facts.
Okay, well, here's a good thing about these corporate media hacks, and this is why I appreciate guys like Snuffleupagus, that they aren't subtle. They telegraph their strategies. They take a very bull in the china shop approach to trying to steer the conversation one way or another. And that's what's going on here. So it's both, hey, let's talk about this thing, and then he answers, what? Why are you talking about it? And it's literally what happened in this exchange over and over, like 3 times in a row, just in the 2 minutes that we played.
All right, you can kill it.
Which means that if you're a Republican, it's very clear what the media wants to talk about and what they don't want to talk about. So that as a Republican, your response is pretty simple. You know, your counter strategy should be pretty simple. Talk about the stuff they don't want to talk about, and don't talk about the stuff that they do.
Okay, yeah, that's pretty funny, man. But you see it.
It's absolutely amazing. I love that Berlin says that homeboy, he looked like he wanted to say, "Well, George, you lucky we're not in the same room." Yeah, I'll smack the shit out of you, George.
Yeah, no, absolutely. But ultimately, to conclude, I have to say, Donald Trump by a landslide, Kamala Harris licking her wound. She doesn't care if she wins or not. She's a puppet. So.
Yeah, you know what? That's a real conversation point that some people were saying that like this isn't even about Kamala winning. It's about making sure they have a good foot for 2028. That their original statement, them being the Democratic Party, that they've already conceded to a Trump presidency. I'm just saying what people are saying on the internet. I will concede to my brother's point here, which is, you know, you got to fall in line and just protect your candidate. But is that democracy?
That's unfortunately the democracy we have. For instance, you know, I have a good friend from Australia, and he says there's about 10 parties. There, it actually changes depending on how popular they are. There's usually 10 or 11 parties, and they have this system where you vote your top pick, your second pick,
right,
or your third pick, and the candidate gets X amount of points depending on what you say. So you could set, and so that changes it. And I kind of like that system. That system sounds better. But here in America, you know, I used to be a third party guy. Now I realize there's only 2 parties. And if I want anything done, I got to vote for one.
Listen, man, I won't begrudge you. I won't begrudge you that, man. Another great episode of Fanboy Modeling School. For those that came in late, here's what we figured out and fixed about the world. Gambit needs his own movie. Wesley Snipes needs a real swan song movie, and Henry Cavill is the only obvious choice for Wolverine. Do not allow anyone to tell you otherwise. We also figured out that no one else is questioning Kamala Harris's ethnicity except for black people, and somehow that conversation made it on to the the main stage. And someone handed Trump a card, and he was like, "She ain't black."
You know, like I said, you know, I know people have been talking about it, but the fact that Trump brought it to the forefront and it's allowed to simmer. You'd think that him saying it would make people, including the community, be like, fuck this. This is wrong. This is bad. But no, what he did is he incepted people, and now people are having this conversation. And so I think he's like a witch or something. He has magical powers or something.
He's Agatha, man. He did it all along.
Which is why you shouldn't cross him.
Well, I mean, someone told me a funny story about Trump today. That racist piece of shit Nick Fuentes and Kanye West went to Mar-a-Lago once upon a time, and apparently Kanye said to Trump, "I want you." Now, this is all take with a grain of salt. This is someone reporting on something they saw or heard. And Kanye said to Trump, "I want you to endorse me as president." And Trump said to Kanye, "If you do that, I will ruin your fucking life." Now, this is also the guy that a lot of conservatives are dealing with. Let's not forget, Trump is how tall? He's what, 6'4", 6'5"?
Yeah, he's tall. That's funny you say that. I only just found out the other day that he's
a big man.
tall.
He's a big man. He's a big man, and if he really is the dude that he pretends to be, which is like this alpha, my dick is swinging around the room type of guy, I can see how a lot of conservatives would be scared to speak up to him because Trump he could be, maybe he is that guy. It's like, listen, you get out of line, I will smack the shit out of you. You see what I did to Ted Cruz?
I bet throughout his career of being a boss, he probably was like, bring me the baby powder.
My man, where can the people catch you, man? Where are you going to be at all week, brother?
All week, I am going to be on Riz Radio with you guys and Steve repping at Fanboy Modeling School every 6 p.m. to 10 p.m. on weekdays. That's Riz Radio. You can catch us on Live 365 or any app that brings you a radio, internet radio, or you can also find me on my personal show, Burn Your Degree, where I encourage you and your children to drop out of college. Over on same channel, Riz Radio, that's 6 p.m. to 10 p.m. every Sunday. And where can they find you, Frendo?
My friends, Thursday and Sunday nights, 10 p.m. to 2 a.m. You can find me on RizRadio.com, Riz Radio Live 365, or wherever you enjoy your internet radio, taking a huge deuce on the culture of hip hop. And something that I meant to bring up is our as a pregame topic, but I'll be getting into more, and maybe I can get Cincy and Bex to join in on this. Ninth Wonder, hip hop legend, giving you a little preview for Sunday's show. I'll see if I can get Cincy and Bex up there. Has said there should be a new category introduced to hip hop, especially in the realm of awards. And that category is adult contemporary hip hop. Q-Tip responded and said, no, that's going to divide hip hop more. But does there need to be a category of music for hip hop that's considered adult contemporary? I'm going to dive into it, get knee deep, balls deep in it. Mantis looks like he has a word to say about it right now.
I'm things are churning. Things are churning.
So we'll be talking about that this Sunday, man. Fuck Lil Pump and fuck Amber Rose and fuck George Stephanopoulos.
You have very strong feelings about this Lil Pump guy. Poor guy.
Well, yeah, I mean, because he's out here saying Kamala ain't black. And now I'm like, God damn.
It's going to infect others. I'm telling you, Trump incepted the world. In a couple of days, Barack Obama is going to be saying it. Just wait. But until next time, guys, please tune in next week for Fanboy Modeling School if you want to hear the whole thing, or you can catch our segments over on Riz Radio. We are out. This is the Fat Mantis and
Steve.
Leaving you, y'all. You live in the dream. Ciao for